Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geostrategic Pulse. Imagine a battlefield where the soldiers don't feel fear, don't get tired, and don't need to be rescued. That future may be closer than we think. China's humanoid robots are already running, fighting, climbing, and competing in athletic events. And one Chinese robotics developer says robot soldiers could be just 5 to 10 years away. But are these machines really ready for war? Or is the hype moving faster than the technology? Stay with us, because what China is developing could fundamentally change the future of warfare. And before we begin, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, tell us what you think in the comments. Would you trust a robot soldier on the battlefield? There is no right or wrong answer. Give us your take. We want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, that question of trust is exactly why we need to dig into this today.
Right.
Because when you look at all this footage coming out of Beijing right now, I mean, it's so easy to just see these robotic sporting events as like a fun spectacle.
Yeah, totally. It looks like a sci-fi movie.
Exactly. But beneath the surface, it's actually this highly calculated display of, well, emerging military capability. So, our goal today is to really break down the mechanics of how, say, a robot running on a track is actually signaling this massive shift in global defense.
It's just surreal to think about. I mean, let's just picture this scene for the latest news on this. You have the 2026 World Humanoid Robot Games.
Right.
And it's hosted in Beijing for the second year in a row, right in that massive speed-skating venue from the 2022 Winter Olympics.
Yeah, the scale is just huge.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
But instead of human athletes, you've got over 2,000 robots.
Wow.
2,000.
Yeah.
Representing 600 teams from 16 different countries. And they're doing like kickboxing.
Yeah.
There are child-sized robots playing soccer, adult-sized ones doing actual floor routines on gymnastics mats. And the craziest part from the recent updates was this one robot that absolutely shattered Usain Bolt's 100-meter sprint record.
Which is just, yeah, that's wild.
Literally covered 109 yards in 9.39 seconds. I mean, what?
I know the visual impact of that is just staggering. But, you really have to look at the underlying engineering to understand why it actually matters.
Right.
Because to beat a human sprint record, a bipedal robot isn't just moving its legs fast. It's processing thousands of micro adjustments every single second.
Like keeping its balance.
Exactly. It has to manage its center of gravity, absorb the kinetic shock of every single footfall, and distribute power to its actuators, like instantly.
Without just falling flat on its face.
Right, which is a monumental computational challenge. So when a machine outpaces a human on a track, it's proving that its onboard processors and the physical hardware can handle these extreme chaotic environments in real time.
But wait, let me push back on that a little bit because, aren't we just looking at a modern space race here?
How do you mean?
Like, you launched this massive, highly publicized show for the world, but behind the scenes, it's just complete chaos.
Yeah.
Because alongside that record-breaking sprint, the latest info also detailed some really spectacular failures.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there were plenty.
I mean, robots were literally tripping over their own feet at the starting line. Some just collapsed mid-stride, and a few literally burst into flames.
Yeah, that happened.
They had to be stretchered off the track in front of a live crowd. So it makes me wonder, does the reality on the ground actually match this flawless narrative they're trying to project?
Well, the failures are real, absolutely, but viewing them as a setback sort of misses the core mechanism of how robotics development actually works.
Okay, explain that.
Bursting into flames on a track isn't really a failure to these engineers. It's vital iterative data. The thing that really matters here is the specific choice of athletic events. Sprints, weightlifting, gymnastics.
They aren't just trying to entertain the crowd.
Exactly. If you can engineer a bipedal machine to balance perfectly while landing a backflip, you've just solved the exact physics required for that same machine to carry, like, heavy asymmetrical equipment over uneven, rubble-strewn terrain.
Oh, wow. So the kickboxing ring is essentially just an open-air proving ground. Because the sensory agility you need to dodge a punch in a ring, that relies on the exact same object tracking algorithms you'd need for hand-to-hand combat, right? Or navigating a really tight, hostile urban corridor.
You nailed it. They're testing military hardware in a sports arena, and they're doing it in plain sight.
is wild.
Yeah, they're pushing the physical limits of dynamic movement and thermal regulation under massive pressure. So when a robot catches fire because it pushed its motors too hard in a sprint, the engineers learn exactly where the thermal threshold is.
Way before that motor design ever gets near an actual battlefield.
Exactly. It's R&D on a global stage.
Okay, but surviving a highly controlled sports arena is one thing, right? When you look at the actual timeline for putting these things into combat, the claims in the news get even bolder.
Right, yeah.
The recent updates highlighted this robotics engineer, Yang Kun, from Shanghai-based AGBOT, and he stated flat out that creating robot soldiers is the ultimate aim.
Which is quite the statement.
Yeah. And he believes Chinese companies are only 5 to 10 years away from achieving it. But realistically, I mean, is that a genuine engineering timeline, or is it a deliberate psychological operation?
Well,
Because making your rivals believe you're 5 years away can be just as effective as actually building the thing.
right, yeah. It's absolutely a potent mix of both. And it really serves this broader doctrine of deterrence.
Deterrence through robots.
Yeah. Yang's theory is that showcasing this immense technological capability acts as a mechanism to prevent conflict entirely.
And so, like, a new nuclear deterrent.
Basically, the geopolitical logic is that if a nation's autonomous military capabilities appear overwhelmingly advanced, the calculated risk for any adversary to attack just becomes way too high.
It's deterrence through technological intimidation.
Exactly, which perfectly aligns with President Xi Jinping's broader national mandate. You know, the leadership in Beijing is pouring immense capital into AI and robotics right now.
Right, with the explicit goal of dominating science and tech globally.
Exactly. They want to secure that global pole position. And projecting this aura of inevitability around their military tech serves that mandate perfectly, whether the robots are 5 years away or, 20.
Yeah, but to actually achieve that pole position, you really have to look at the economic engine driving this research. You can't just mandate supremacy from the top down.
Right.
You have to find a way to fund that massive trial and error phase you were talking about earlier.
Which brings us to the pop culture elephant in the room.
Oh, the Terminator scenario.
The Terminator scenario. Whenever we talk about autonomous soldiers rolling out in a decade, people immediately jump to the idea of, cold, unfeeling machines deciding to wipe us out.
Yeah, Skynet. But when Yang Kun was asked about this in the recent news, he just dismissed it entirely.
Right.
He argued that robots don't have human emotions, so they can't be inherently evil.
Yeah.
His whole point was that it all depends on who controls them.
And that phrase right there, who controls them, that's the absolute key to understanding this entire technological shift, specifically through the lens of dual-use technology.
Okay, but break that down for us.
Sure, so let's look at the immediate trajectory of these machines. Take Yang's robot, the one designated A3 that was actually competing in the kickboxing events.
Kickboxer, right.
According to the latest info, its immediate deployment isn't going to be like airdropped into a war zone. The plan is actually to send A3 into hotels and residential homes.
Wait, to clean rooms?
To clean rooms and assist with daily tasks, yeah.
Okay, if we think about the underlying mechanism there, that is incredibly smart. Because a messy hotel room is essentially just a chaotic, constantly changing environment.
Bingo.
So if a robot is using AI reinforcement learning to, I don't know, recognize the difference between a soft pillow and a hard chair.
Or navigating around luggage left randomly on the floor.
Right. It is training the exact same spatial awareness algorithms you would need to navigate a collapsed building.
Or a battlefield. Exactly. You've hit on the exact brilliance of dual-use technology here. Because, an AI doesn't just natively know how to move through a room.
And has to learn.
Right. It requires constant reinforcement learning. It has to fail, correct itself, and try again, like millions of times. And a hotel room provides this endless, low-risk stream of unpredictable data.
That makes so much sense. As the robot learns to, say, gently pick up a glass without crushing it.
It's calibrating the exact pressure-sensitive actuators needed to handle delicate equipment later on. They aren't just training the AI. They're getting the global civilian market to literally fund their military R&D.
Wow. So the civilian revenue basically pays for all those expensive, messy iterations.
Yep.
The commercial market is subsidizing the battery life improvements, the object recognition, the thermal regulation.
All of it.
They iron out all the glitches, the tripping, the catching on fire entirely on the civilian dime. And then, once the tech is perfected, scalable, and reliable,
You just hand that blueprint right over to the armed forces. It's a highly integrated, economically sustainable approach to defense. You don't need a secret underground bunker to build a revolutionary platform anymore.
You just build a kickboxing robot.
Right? Let it break a sprint record on global television, sell 1 million units to hospitality chains, and simultaneously perfect your future military force.
I mean, that completely reframes how we should look at literally every commercial robot prototype hitting the news right now.
It really does.
But, all of this leaves you with one final, deeply unsettling question to mull over. If a nation successfully deploys a military force that simply does not fear death, does that lower the political threshold for starting a war?
That's the real danger, isn't it?
Yeah, because historically, one of the greatest deterrents to conflict has been the human cost, the political fallout of casualties coming home. But if you remove that entirely, if the human cost of a conflict becomes exactly zero, does war just become inevitable?
It's a heavy thought.
We will leave you to think on that. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching this deep dive. If you enjoyed unpacking this with us, we give you a warm, enthusiastic invitation to check out and listen to the other amazing deep dives in our channel's lineup. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and we'll see you next time.